friends. Today we will be investigating into the American-Philippine War between 1899 and 1902. After its defeat in the Spanish-American War in 1898, Spain ceded its long-lasting colony of the Philippines to the United States in the Treaty of Paris. On February 4th of 1899, just 2 days before the US Senate ratified the treaty, fighting broke out between the American forces and the Filipino nationalists led by Emilio Aguinaldo, who sought independence rather than a change in colonial rulers. The ensuing Philippine-American War lasted 3 years and resulted in the death of over 4,200 American and over 20,000 Filipino combatants. As many as 200,000 Philippine civilians died from violence, famine, and disease. The decision by US policymakers to annex the Philippines did not come without domestic controversy. Americans who advocated annexation evidenced a variety of motivations: desire for commercial opportunities in Asia, concern that the Philippines were incapable of self-rule, and fear that if the United States did not take control of the island, another power. The best way of showing the American-Philippine War is with real footage. Here are some videos of the President Roosevelt in an interview talking about this war.
Hello, I'm here with the President of the United States of America to discuss the Philippine-American War. What can you tell us about yourself?
Well, as most of you know, my name is Theodore Roosevelt. I was who fought in Cuba in the Spanish-American War. Then I became President of the US in September 14 of 1901, the best day of my life. I also made an agreement with the President before me, and this was that Filipinos were not capable of self-governance. Finally, I found an end to the war, which was known for the massacres that happened and that affected both sides.
What can you tell us about Emilio Aguinaldo that was part of this war that we are talking about?
The US made an alliance with the Filipino revolutionaries that was led by Emilio Aguinaldo. He was who declared the independence of the Philippines in 1898. He was named the President of the Philippines Republic, but the United States did not recognize his leadership.
What happened between the US and Aguinaldo?
The US military began to disagree with Aguinaldo's forces and the US military on February 4th in 1889. Conventional fighting turned to guerrilla warfare. Finally, I would like to add that the annex of the Philippines is a huge opportunity for the country to expand its horizons. The annexation will bring a lot of benefits to the country, for example, commercial opportunities in Asia. The government is concerned that the Filipinos are incapable of self-rule. In the United States, they did not take control of the islands. Another power, such as Germany or Japan, might do so, and we can't lose the chance to have Philippines under our governance.
US colonial rule of the Philippines came in many forms, ranging from those who thought it was morally wrong for the United States to be engaged in colonialism, to those who feared that annexation might eventually permit to non-white Filipinos to have a role in American national government. Others were wholly unconcerned about the moral or racial implications of imperialism and sought only to oppose the policies of President Roosevelt. Now we are here where everything started. It is important to show both sides of the story. Not every American was in agreement of the annexation. That's why I have found footage about the leader of the opposition in American soil.
Live outside of the United States White House with the Senator Kate Smith, member of the opposition. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
Do you really feel that there are moral implications of colonialism in the US after annexation of the Philippines?
Definitely do, not only for the members of the opposition but the whole government. The United States of America is a nation which is moving forward, not backwards. Colonialism is something of the past. We as the great nation of America must promote the stop of imperialism.
And the government, do you feel that there will be any effects on this?
Yes, some of us are worried that the annexation of the Philippines to the country might mean that non-white Filipinos will be able to be part of the government, meaning that the nation's standards and organization will immediately go down as these people have no idea how to manage a country, as it can be seen in their own country. Our nation has to continue being great.
So that there are some people simply opposed because they want to oppose?
For the third time today, this is also a yes. There's some people who simply decide to oppose this because they don't like President Roosevelt's policies.
Are you in favor?
No, I cannot comment on those matters. The only thing I have to say is that all the members of the opposition and all who are in favor of the opposition must unite together to stop this annexation.
So you're in favor?
I never said
Do
that.
you have any more comments regarding this?
Nation, we must all unite together to stop this policy from happening because this will affect our whole country.
Thank you for having me.
There were two phases to the Philippine-American War. The first phase, from February to November 1899, was dominated by Aguinaldo's ill-fated attempts to fight the conventional war against the better trained and equipped American troops. The second phase was marked by the Filipino shift to guerrilla-style warfare. It began in November of 1899, lasted through the capture of Aguinaldo's in 1901 and into the spring of 1902, by which time most organized Filipino resistance had dissipated. President Theodore Roosevelt proclaimed the general amnesty and declared the conflict over July 4th of 1902, although minor uprisings and insurrections against American rule periodically occurred in the years that followed. This is where everything happened. Everything was about the Americans in the annexation. It's also important to show what the Philippines thought about this. So this is why I have found a footage about Emilio Aguinaldo, talking about how the war has affected.
We were interviewing Emilio Aguinaldo. We would like to know your opinion about the United States of America. May I go up?
No, I don't want other Americans here. Well, at the beginning, we were in agreement with the Americans, since our common enemy were the Spanish. But they never were our allies. They just wanted to control us. Their excuse was that they wanted to save us from the Spanish. But they are just like them. The only thing that matters to the Occidental countries is to have power and control over territories around the globe. They don't care about the people. Of the people of the Philippines, I will not allow this. I will fight back for my country.
You seem very determined with your ideas, but do you really believe you will be able to fight back the Americans? You have been already in a war against Spain.
Yes, I do. If we were able to fight for our country once, we will do it again. We just need a good strategy. I believe in my people and their desire of being finally free.
I ask you, what's your strategy?
If you allow me, I will read a speech that I wrote 2 days ago. The Spanish left a caste system where three main groups are identified: the peasants, the ilustrados, and the principales. Even though they have different points of view, they are all going to get together and fight back. Here, my job is to keep them unified and not let them fall out because of their differences. The opposition is my center of gravity and my main weapon against the United States.
The Filipinos are concerned about the weapons, since the Americans are armed with giant forces.
I know that our weapons are not as modern as the Americans, but if we learn how to use our bolo knives, our arrows, our spears and bows perfectly, we can fight them back. And we will win! I love you! When we talk about our land, no differences matter. We only care about defending what is ours!
Revolution! Revolution!
Miss Camila, I will tell you my story. Look, I had this really good family, and we lived like not so happy, but we lived happy, and they all disappeared. I had a daughter, a son, and a husband. My daughter, she was violated, and then she was killed. My husband, he was killed with me here, and I was at his side, and he's dead. And sorry for my English, is that English is not my first language, so so I don't know what to do. And then my son, one day we were in the house and they took him, the US people took him, they took my son to war, and they have passed like 3 months, and I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything about him, and I don't know if he's dead or if he's good, and this has been a really horrible thing, and I hope this doesn't happen to anyone else in the world. Okay, so please pray for my son. I pray all nights, all days, all times. Pray also for Philippines. Pray for Philippines, because we are in a horrible issue. Thank you a lot, and remember, this is my testimony of Pamela. Thank you.
The war was brutal on both sides. US forces at times burned villages, implemented civilian reconcentration policies, and employed torture on suspected guerrillas, while Filipino fighters also tortured, captured soldiers, and terrorized civilians who cooperated with American forces. Many civilians died during the conflict as a result of the fighting, cholera and malaria epidemics, and food shortages caused by the several agricultural catastrophes. Even as the fight went on, the colonial government that the United States established in the Philippines in the 1900s under the future president William Howard Taft launched a pacification campaign that became known as the policy of attraction, designed to win over key elites and other Filipinos who did not embrace Aguinaldo's plans for the Philippines. This policy permitted the significant degree of self-government, introduced social reforms, and implemented plans for economic development. In the 1907, the Philippines convened its first elected assembly, and in 1916, the Jones Act promised the nation eventual independence. The archipelago became an autonomous commonwealth in 1935, and the U.S. granted independence in 1946.
Espérate.
But if we learn how to use our bolo knives, bows,
I'd like to say is that everyone of the United States, we must stop this.
Everyone of the United States, we must stop.
since our common sorry.
El perro guardián del presidente.
Over territories and sorry, my language is not my first language.
Sorry, my language is not my first language. Around
Because of the President Roosevelt's
Yes, the Spanish system left a caste system.
This is something that will bring our nation's economy. Our nation which is striving towards the.
Thank you for having me.